Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Fantasy Six Pack to talk about Monday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons head to Philly, the city of brotherly love, to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. That one kicks off at 8:15. Over under sits at around 46 total points. You can get Atlanta plus points right now, Philly minus the points. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I think it's going to be an over kind of deal. Both teams score around in the high to mid 20s apiece. I'll give you the final score and where I'm headed here shortly. Before I get into the video, make sure you get the Fantasy Six Pack. When you get there, take in everything that the website has to offer: rankings, projections. Everything is going down in the Discord, which is free, but there are a few premium channels if you feel the need to cross that bridge, which I think you should, because that's where all the sports betting folks are sharing their ideas and thoughts. Rankings, start sit questions 24/7, 365. Because, as I've said once before, this website, Fantasy Six Pack, its bread and butter is seasonal formats, dynasty formats, and everybody's always, clawing and looking for rankings and start sit questions. We just want to be comforted that we're making the right decision. When we look at last night's game, the Texans did win. It was don't want to say shocking, but they won by exactly 6 points. And I told folks, take the Texans, minus the 6 points, and they won exactly by 6. So some books that's a push. I don't think you get your money back. The guy used to bet within the alley, brown paper bag. I mean, I'm not getting my money back if it's a push. But the Texans defense was fantastic. They sacked Caleb, I think, 7 times, 2 interceptions. That defense was just, they were madmen. I had a tweet about that. And again, Nico Collins was the guy at wide receiver. The game, not to toot my own horn, but the game kind of went as expected, which is strange in itself, because being right or being consistently right or good, something, I mean, that's a strange feeling as well. Well, I said Atlanta goes to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles tonight, 8:15 p.m. A.J. Brown is not active tonight. He's out, and that broke Sunday morning sometime, right in the early afternoon. So there's been a full day. It'll be a full day and a half, almost 2 days of folks being able to take A.J. Brown out of their lineups, maybe get in a waiver claim or a trade, something along those lines. So there is no tactical advantage to knowing that A.J. Brown is out. We can go, Johnny Wilson or Grant Kilcaterra for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's just going to be more of the same for Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley, Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert here. So there's nothing really crazy going on behind the scenes, or no sneaky move for me to give you tonight, because it's been, a large period of time since A.J. Brown was said he's not going to play. So let's start with this one here. 8:15 kickoff. The Atlanta Falcons plus 5.5 points. That's what I'm taking. I'll just tell you right off the bat. The final score will be indicative to that. I don't think Atlanta wins the football game, but I am going to take them plus the points here. Let's start with Kirk Cousins, shall we? Last week, week 1, was there. I don't want to say there's a learning curve, because Kirk Cousins is a seasoned vet, but it was just a learning curve. I don't know how else to put it. With a new team, leaving Minnesota, coming over to Atlanta, just getting acclimated to everything. And you would say, well, Chris, what did he do in the preseason? What did they do over summer camp? I don't know, but I think Kirk Cousins finds solid ground again, and it's the Kirk Cousins we know and kind of love. It's the Kirk Cousins we deal with. Let's just say that. Kirk Cousins, 14 grand on FanDuel, 9 grand on DK. The Eagles' defensive line is been pretty good. They are 23rd overall against opposing quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, 23-24 completions, around 270 yards, and I think he throws for 2 touchdowns, and that is a bet I would place money on. 2+ touchdowns. He gets 3, we cash 2, and it's beautiful. 1 to 2 carries, maybe 8 to 10 yards. We're not banking on Kirk Cousins rushing yards. When we look at Jalen Hurts, the Falcons, 10th overall against opposing quarterbacks. Hurts, 17.5 on FanDuel, 10 grand on DK, 21 to 22 completions, 250 passing yards, a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. Will there be a case to be made that Hurts not gets over the hump, but gets to that 3rd touchdown? Absolutely, given what not at stake, but what is in front of him here this evening. When we look at the running backs, Bijan and Saquon Barkley, that's just the 1-2 punch. They're highlighted in my notes. Can't build a single entry lineup without the 2. It's one of those things, even in GPPs, cash games, we already know the deal there. You can talk to Keith Fleming or Dave Eddy about that. But But when you look at single game slates, GPPs, it's always been about, what like 3 or 4 guys can we pick that, and just match with the masses, and it'll be a wash, leaving it open where we only need 1 or 2 unique players. So that's the way I'm going tonight. Stack up Bijan and Saquon and Kyle Pitts and Goddard, and maybe throw in Jalen Hurts, and then maybe a Dotson, or maybe a Kyle Pitts, as I said, or Charlie Warner, something weird, or one of the kickers, Jake Elliott. We just need that one or two unique players to kind of supplement the wash of all the stone cold studs. Bijan Robinson, 16 grand on FanDuel, 10-4 on DK, 17-18 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown on the ground, 4 to 5 receptions, 40 yards. It was good to see the chemistry. The one thing that was good for the Falcons last week, the chemistry between Bijan and Kirk Cousins. 5 targets, 5 catches, no issues there. And to be fair, I think Bijan's the best wide receiver option in those short to intermediate routes. And boom, you can let Drake London, just roll down the sidelines and maybe sneak in Ray every once in a while. But we'll get to that. Tyler Algier, nothing crazy, 6-7 carries, 30 yards, a reception or 2 for 10 yards. When we get to Saquon Barkley, last week, Atlanta, they allowed 137 rushing yards in week 1. Okay, but Saquon had 3 touchdowns, and the New York Giants fans were, cursing the coaching staff. And then, did you see that video? I don't know if it was, meant to be satire or funny, but it was like, the sneaky camera that's in, the GM room. And the GM is like, talking to his son, who's I think is like a teenager, and the son is texting on the phone, and the GM goes, "What should we do with Saquon? Should we sign him? Should we trade it?" It was a very strange thing, and I do believe Saquon replied to it, but it wasn't fun. I don't know what the heck's going on in New York for the Jets, but Saquon Barkley's a stone cold stud, and we're going to proceed in that form and fashion. 13-5 on FanDuel, 10-6 on DK, 18-19 carries, 75 to 80 yards. Will score a touchdown on the ground, 3 to 4 receptions, 25 to 30 yards. Both backs, Bijan and Saquon Barkley. I can't even fathom building a line without the both of them tonight. Sure, you could stack up Atlanta, the Eagles, Young Ho Koo, Jake Elliott, and then you just pop in maybe Johan Dotson. That's as unique as it gets, but maybe there could be a case that struggles to get to 50 total points, even with the MVP captain spot. So as I said, let's stack up the studs, and then we'll pop in 1 or 2 unique plays. Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. Which way are we going? Drake London, get this, Philadelphia dead last, 32nd overall against opposing wide receivers, 10-5 on FanDuel, 7-8 on DK, 9 to 10 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, around 70 yards. The Eagles have been good, late last, well, their defense was kind of, fell off late last season, but their defensive line is always strong, and they're good at stopping the run, boom, right at the line of scrimmage, right? So it might cut things off. The chances downfield might be slim, as they know, what, get a push up front, and let's see what's going on. Does Kirk have time to get it out all the way down the field? That's why Bijan is such a intricate part to this, game and our lineups here tonight. Atlanta's O-line, Philly's D-line. Atlanta might be one of the only teams in the league that can kind of, keep pace with the Philadelphia defensive line. Darnell Mooney, sure, he's in play as a secondary option, 5-6 targets, 4 or 5 receptions, around 50 yards. Ray McLeod is where I would put my money for like a secondary, or like a third, fourth option in a single game slate lineup. 7 grand on FanDuel, 3 grand on DraftKings, 4 or 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 35 to 40 yards. Could be like an emergency option, like a safety valve, right? Kirk Cousins and that offensive line's getting pushed back. Bijan is, getting blocked or held, double teamed, however it is. And Drake London's way down the field. Kirk can't even see him. Guess what? Ray McLeod could be that emergency option if, Kirk's reads aren't available. As I said, Bijan is not available. So to me, Ray McLeod, what I gave you for his projections tonight are kind of like a base, let's say 3 to 4 receptions, which is solid, but it's the 35 yards. You would say, well, given how you think this game is going to go, the points and the push and all that, football mumbo jumbo, Ray McLeod, one of those catches could be for 35 yards. And then anything after that is gravy. When we look at what's going on for Philadelphia, again, no A.J. Brown, So folks have already made the decision to just it's going to be a Devonta Smith game. He's going to see 15 targets. That's what this kid does. He's a possession receiver. He's a downfield threat. He's an all-around stud wide receiver. And I agree with you, but the ownership percentage is going to be higher than heck. 90%. I mean, that's a little high, but seriously, 90% could be a thing, especially in, the 1,000 entry, single entry kind of things. Devonta Smith and the Falcons right now, first overall against wide receivers. 11-5 on FanDuel, 8-8 on DK, 9 to 10 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, 80 yards. Dotson is where Dotson and Ray McLeod are the two wide receivers. Those are my two unique options, right? We'll stack up Bijan, as I said, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, Kyle Pitts as well, but I'll get to them here shortly. But to me, Dotson and Ray McLeod are the two, not outliers, but they could be those two wide receivers where, it's the third quarter and it's like Ray McLeod, his fourth catch for 70 yards, or there's Dotson, his second catch for a touchdown and 30-something yards. So those are the two wide receivers I have my mind set on here. When we look at the tight ends, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert. When you Pitts going against Philadelphia, they're 11th overall against tight ends. $10,000 on FanDuel, 6-8 on DK, 5-6 targets, 4 to 5 receptions, 60 to 65 yards. I know that everybody, people make the memes and make fun of, I'm painting my fit, I'm going to draft Kyle Pitts again. He's going to be getting, putting on the clown makeup. Well, guess what? He's still kind of a mismatch in the middle of the field, and that's what I'm looking for tonight. Bijan, as I said, going to be in those small immediate spots. Ray McLeod could be the safety valve if Bijan's not available, and Kyle Pitts is going to fall somewhere in between those two guys, and we'll see what we get. What's the worst that could happen? A goose egg, 0-0s. I don't think that happens, but we shall see. For the Philadelphia side of things, Dallas Goedert going to be moved up the pecking order. How could he not? With A.J. Brown not being active, Atlanta 19th overall against opposing against opposing tight ends, 9-5 on FanDuel, 5-8 on DK, 7-8 targets, 5-6 receptions, 60 to 65 yards. I also think Dallas Goedert is a must-have tonight, in addition to Saquon, in addition to Bijan. You're free to do as you please. Grant Calcaterra going to be in play, but it's not one of those sneaky tight end catches 2 touchdown games with Grant Calcaterra. When we look at the DSTs, Atlanta, the Eagles, the only difference is I have both teams with 2 sacks, both teams with an interception. The difference, I think the Eagles, fall on a football, so they will have one fumble recovery in comparison to Atlanta and none. When we look at the kickers, both are in play. Young Hoku has been outstanding in his early in his career, and he's only been in the league a few years, but he's been fantastic. But Jake Elliott is where I'd want to be. I have Jake Elliott 3 for 3 field goals, 3 for 3 extra points, 2 for 2 field goals. He's at home. Atlanta's dead last against kickers. 8-5 on FanDuel, 4-8 on DK. Let me give you some recent betting trends. I'll give you the final score, and we will get the heck out of here. Atlanta 1-4 against the spread. Their last 5 against Philadelphia. The Falcons 2-13 straight up their last 15 games on the road. The Philadelphia Eagles 1-7 against the spread their last 8 games. And get this one, the over has hit in Philadelphia's last 6 games at home. Not fooling with the over-under. I'm taking the Falcons plus 5.5 points, and I think Philly wins a tight one, separated by a field goal, 27-24. So give me Philly to win. Yeah, don't excuse me. I want Philly to win, but give me the Falcons plus the points. We shall see what we get. And again, just like that, poof, week 2 is done and over, and we are on to week 3. Bottom of the barrel out later this week. Hit the website, tag me if you have any questions or comments, and I will see you Thursday night for football and along with Bottom of the Barrel. Be good, be safe. Philadelphia wins, taking Atlanta in the points. See you later. Bye.